Welcome to the 2007-2008 32-team franchise. This is Doomhammer giving you the recap of the Chicago Bears. They went 9-7 and were the first place team in the NFC North. So here we have their schedule. The Bears were sort of a off and on team with their quarterback situation, from Brian Griese to Rex Grossman. I thought they were more of a mess when I was playing with them. But as you can see, Brian Griese, 1,500 yards, 14 passing touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And I thought he struggled more. And then there's Rex Grossman, who had this very similar 1,500 yards in passing yards, 16 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He did have a 70% completion rate. And the team did win. The stats for Rex Grossman were higher than the stats of Brian Griese when they played the games. However, Brian Griese seemed to win more often. But near the end, the Bears ended up having an injury to Griese, and then Grossman just took it from there. When they were in the playoffs, they lost in the first round to the Philadelphia Eagles, who then went on to win the Super Bowl. But here's Bernard Berrien with 620 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. Their most solid wide receiver on the team. And there's Griese getting a touchdown pass there to Berrien. Also, Chicago's defense, although they had so many great players, was just very mediocre throughout the season. I mean, they're middle of the pack. And I expected more from that stellar defense with Urlacher and Tommy Harris, Nate Vasher. There's Muhsin Muhammad, who did retire at the end of this year. He had 625 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns. During the offseason, I wanted to find a way to improve this team. And because of the quarterback controversy between Grossman and Griese, I decided that they were going to go and get out there and get a quarterback. And because the Ravens had such a great season with Steve McNair did not get injured this season like he did in the real 2007-2008 NFL season. The Ravens passed on Joe Flacco and did not try to trade up to get him. And so the Chicago Bears decided they were going to take Joe Flacco. So next season, Joe Flacco is a Chicago Bear, along with Matt Forte, who was originally drafted by them to help them with their running game. As you can see some highlights of Mark Bradley, who was a third wide receiver option, but had a solid season. And then there's Greg Olsen, who's probably my favorite player on the Bears, with over 1,000 receiving yards, 13 receiving touchdowns. Kind of the main option for me on the Chicago offense. He's just a big target, solid pass catcher. I'm looking at just breaking tackles to the end zone. One of the most reliable targets here on this team. And there's now Grossman getting a turn, throwing a touchdown to Greg Olsen. Kyle Orton there. I know that's talk about the QB carousel. Both of them were injured, Grossman and Griese at one point. And so Kyle Orton got to play. And Orton ended up going and joining the St. Louis Rams in the offseason. And here we are, Cedric Benson, who ran for over 1,000 yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. He was a decent running back. He had some good plays, but I did want to get Matt Forte just for proof. And that's Wolf right there. And I think, another play by Wolf, but Benson was better in comparison. So there's the total offensive yards. They were 21st ranked. They were 14th ranked in total passing yards, which was better than I thought they'd be. Then you look at the 22nd in total rushing yards. Kind of needed more options to hand the ball off to. They were 17th in points. And then least yards allowed, again, very mediocre. Nothing really impressive there. Least pass yards, again, they're right there in the middle of 18. Least rushing yards, they were 11th, so a little bit better in their rush defense, but not where I thought they should be. They were 5th in least points allowed, but I kind of wanted to see them a little bit more of a stout defense, considering they were like a top 5 in real life. So there it is, the 2007-2008 NFL season for the Chicago Bears. They made the playoffs, first in the NFC North, but some work to do in order to get deeper into the playoffs.